What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of the CubCast, our now regularly running news series where we take a look at different stories going on in and around the world of international music. Obviously, we're based here in the UK, so we get to see a lot of different sounds and styles fall into that international bracket, primarily Afrobeats, dancehall, amapiano, reggae music, and a few other sounds as well. Today, we're getting into a interesting discussion surrounding one of the real heavyweights of Afrobeats, so I'm very excited to get into that. Before that, though, I want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you who has been supporting the channel over the course of the last 2 years. We just hit 36,000 subscribers. Again, a number I never thought fathomable, a number I never thought we'd get anywhere near. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It's been crazy. The journey's been so much fun to be on. I've learned so much over the last couple of years doing YouTube in particular. What it's been able to bring to the breakfast show as well, and just other aspects of my life I've really enjoyed. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who is involved in the channel before we go any further. So big up each and every one of you. Now, we will be putting together a live mix tonight to celebrate, so do look into the channel from around 5, 6-ish. I'm going to be running some tunes here on the channel and getting into a bit of a live mix and conversation. Should be quite fun to do. Now, moving into today's main topic of discussion, we are going to be talking about Billboard, who recently launched, obviously, the US Afrobeats chart. Every Tuesday on the channel, you can check out our Billboard review. It's basically us looking through all the latest goings-on in and around Billboard, basically looking at where tracks are charting, where tracks are kind of moving to, whether they're moving up or down, and giving our kind of opinions on those things as well. And obviously, we love you guys getting involved with that as well. However, today we are looking very specifically at the full-blown actual Billboard Top 100 chart, which is very exciting indeed, which has always been notoriously difficult, I feel, for acts outside of North America in general to actually crack into. Obviously, you see a lot of Canadian artists in there, the likes of Drake, Justin Bieber, Party Next Door, The Weeknd, like all of these big established Canadian acts get in there, but it is primarily US acts that tend to dominate it. You do see a lot of sort of South American acts getting in there now, the likes of Bad Bunny being in there quite regularly is a great example of that as well. However, we are talking obviously about an Afrobeats artist today. Billboard has today announced that Wizkid's Essence is the longest charting African song in history. Now, this is such an exciting thing to be able to see. Having watched the entirety of the campaign for Made in Lagos, and again the campaign for Essence, the growth of that tune, the expansion, the fact it's become this incredibly well-renowned, world-recognized record is such a cool thing to see, and it is now officially the longest charting African song in the history of Billboard, which is very exciting to see. Obviously, this came off Wizkid's 4th studio album, which is Made in Lagos, which has also recently been confirmed as the longest charting African album. So these two things combined do now officially make Wizkid the highest, the longest charting African artist in the history of Billboard. Now, over the years, we've seen numerous different acts, from the kind of Fela Kuti getting involved in there to Davido to a lot more sort of recently CK, people like that on a much more modernized tip. It's so exciting to see that Wizkid is getting his flowers. He is getting that crown of being the most essentially established in the US on a global platform. We've seen so many artists over there recently, the likes of A. Star. We've seen Ladipo over there. Obviously, Burna Boy's just come off a massive tour. We've seen Davido over there quite recently as well. And we are seeing numerous kind of American artists actually flocking towards what Wizkid is doing. Obviously, Justin Bieber is on the remix of Essence, which is the track we are talking about today. And he's recently collaborated with Chris Brown, literally about 4 days ago. That one came out at the time of recording. So it's an interesting thing to kind of see. It's a great thing for Wizkid to kind of get this crown, purely because I would safely say that if we're talking about recognised in the UK, I'd say Wizkid is without a doubt the most recognised. Burna Boy's probably a close second, but I'd say Wizkid is still kind of like a certified first place, especially following on from Made in Lagos, which has been a phenomenon of an album when we actually look through it. The fact that there are so many bangers on there, the fact it really has stood the test of time, the fact that I could play in a dance to this day and drop near enough any tune off Made in Lagos and people will go absolutely crazy to it. So it is an album that definitely holds up over time. And for that reason alone, realistically, well, not that reason alone, but for that reason being one of the main reasons that it's done so well, it has become the longest charting African album in Billboard's history, which is crazy. Again, Billboard as a platform has always been very kind of pro-US. It's always been very kind of focused on US artists because it's based in America. And America does tend to think quite, not necessarily inwardly, but as America is such a big place, you do tend to get flooded with primarily American music, whereas in somewhere like the UK, we have quite a good balance. We are primarily UK artists now, but we do get a lot of international flavour coming in, whether it be US, whether it be Canada, whether it be Nigeria, for instance. There are so many different sorts of places that the music is consumed here in the UK, but America itself seems to be a much more sort of centric around American artists. So for an artist to actually have this achievement, it's quite a big deal, more than anything else. But there we go, incredible stuff. Overall, Wizkid has very much been a very influential figure when we look at the kind of growth on an international scale of Afrobeats music, without a shadow of a doubt. There are people who probably wouldn't have heard of Afrobeats as a genre, or kind of seen it as a genre they should be checking out prior to Wizkid appearing. And to be honest, without Made in Lagos, I feel a lot of the artists that are now popping wouldn't necessarily be getting the international respect that they do actually deserve. So a lot of praise has to go to Wizkid and the work he's done, and the work that the team behind Made in Lagos has put in, just for establishing this sound as an international kind of an international delicacy more than anything else. And to be honest with you, something I did want to discuss about this as well. Obviously, Essence is now the longest charting song. At the time, I didn't think Essence would be anywhere near as big. It was obviously going to be a banger. It was obviously going to be a track that people loved from the album, but I never thought it was going to be the track that really stood out. I always thought it would either be No Stress, maybe Reckless, or obviously one of the collaborations, either with Damian Marley or with Burna Boy. I thought it would always be one of those. Maybe even True Love as well. I always thought it would be one of the collaborations that really did sort of stand out as that leading track for the times. However, it is Essence, which is a collaboration, but it wasn't the collaboration I thought it would be. So to see how big a deal this tune has become, I've been lucky enough to experience Thames performing it live. And it sounds incredible live. And obviously this was a tune that got massive plaudits being performed at the O2 when Wiz was over here performing at the O2 in the UK. So it's awesome to see. I think this comes at a very good time as an announcement for Wizkid, because obviously he currently has a track out there with Chris Brown that at the time of recording is sat in, I think, 68th on the Billboard chart as well. So he's got 2 tracks in there. And this is only 4 days on from its official release. So we could definitely see this one continue to climb as things go forward. And that is Call Me Every Day alongside Chris Brown, obviously. If we're talking about general with that chart at the moment, Drake is dominating, which is absolutely crazy. I think he's got 14 of the top 20 and 9 out of the top 10, or at least he's actually featured on 9 out of the top 10 so far. Wiz to kind of come off the back of all of those sort of 20-odd new editions of Drake releases all sort of landing. Well, I don't know how many tracks are on the new Drake album. It might be 14 or 15. It might be all of the tracks are actually charting. But the fact that there are so many new tracks in there that are charting and Wiz is still able to kind of get into that sort of top 70 realistically, it's a really good thing to see, and it's a great thing for kind of the international reputation of Afrobeats as a sound. Now, this also comes in a very good timing, as we do know that More Love, Less Ego is around the corner. Wiz's upcoming album. I'm very excited to see what happens with that album. I can't help but feel there are going to be a few massive international collaborations on there. I'm so keen to see what they are. It wouldn't surprise me if we do see a few more of these kind of collaborations going back and forth if Chris Brown is actually on his album as well. I'm very interested to see what collaborations are on that album. We always know that Wiz brings good collaborations when he gets involved in them, so very interesting stuff indeed. I think with More Love, Less Ego, what we are going to see is a very kind of sporadic, surprising campaign. I don't think it's going to happen I don't think it's going to happen over a matter of like months. I think it will happen near enough overnight. Very similar to the Drake album, and Drake is someone I would definitely like to see on that project. So there we go. But that's the main sort of discussion point I wanted to bring across today, and obviously celebrate what Wizkid is doing and what he has done over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He has been a real pillar. He has been a beacon for a lot of artists to kind of follow in the footsteps of, and he has definitely lit up the way for a lot of artists who now do see him as a primary inspiration, as they should well do. And he has now become one of these sort of globally established artists who has one of these Billboard records, and it's a fantastic thing to be able to see Essence, the longest charting African song in Billboard's history, and Made in Lagos, the longest standing album from an African artist in Billboard history. Fantastic achievement from Wizkid, and I'm very keen to, I've been very excited to talk about this one ever since I saw the news. I've literally just got home, and it's the first thing I've did is sat down and record this, so there we go. But there we go, guys. We are going to be live a little bit later on the channel. We're going to be running an exclusive live mix from around maybe 5ish or 6ish. I'll decide a little bit later on once I've had a bit of a rest from work, and then we will be getting into that. So there we go. Very exciting stuff. As always, friends, hopefully you have enjoyed this breakdown video. Please make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right hand side of the page, turning notifications on, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. And I want to know, whilst I've got you all here, Is there a track off Made in Lagos that you feel has really stood the test in time? After all of this period of kind of watching this album break all these records and become this very internationally established beacon for Afrobeats music on a global stage, which, after all of that period of time, is your favourite track off the project? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm keen to see. I'll be reading the comments on this video regularly, so please do let me know. That's it from me, though. We shall see you all next time, and have a fantastic rest of your Monday afternoon. Catch you later, and peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a Brighton town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.